Here we go, here we go, here we go. It's another Sunday Live. Hey, everybody, how you doing? Sorry, I'm a little late. I was running a little late. I've been running all over creation, actually. I went to a bunch of shows this week. You'd think I was a kid or something. I'm not a kid. Not anymore. But I acted like one. I saw some gigs. This one, the Taylor Hawkins tribute show this week. That was brilliant. So much fun. What a great vibe in that room. So we can talk about that if you want. And then I saw Britt playing with Demi Lovato on 2 nights this week in Vegas and in LA. That was really fun. So I was in Las Vegas for a minute. And I want to tell you the story of this shirt to the fella that got me this shirt. Nice guy that watches the channel and was at the show in line for t-shirts and merch and stuff. And so was I. wanted to get a shirt. And he insisted on getting the shirt for me. He was there with his family from San Diego. And he said, man, I want your channel. And I bought a BEOD pedal because of you. I said, I hope you like it. And he said, let me get your shirt. And he wouldn't take no for an answer. So, hey, man, thank you very much. It was nice to meet you and your fam. I met a lot of really nice people while waiting for that show to start. Some folks from Poland, folks from the East Coast, people that had traveled all over the place to come to see that gig. And there was just this really, really, really great vibe in the room. Really warm, nice vibe. Speaking of warm, I'm going to warm up the light a little bit because it looks a little, I can do that here. It looks a little harsh or something. I don't know if that helped or not, but anyways. Richard says he'd love to hear more about the experience. Well, there's so much to recap that it's hard to, there was things where I remember, like the next day, somebody would be like, how was so-and-so? You'd be like, oh yeah, they were there too. And they were awesome. It's like hard to remember everybody because it was 6 hours. I realized I'd stood on my feet for 9 hours by the end of that day. So I got out of bed the next day, my joints were like, dude, what did you do yesterday? Like, this is ridiculous. So, but anyways, everybody was great, man. I mean, from the beginning, which was Dave's daughter and Alan Johannes singing Hallelujah. That's how the show started. It was beautiful. And then Joan Jett came out and she cried and she was amazing. It was awesome. Let's see. Miley was cool with Def Leppard in the Shades. Miley was great and Def Leppard were great. They sounded terrific. And one of the things that that struck me was at some point I was like, hey, that's Pat Smear up there playing with Def Leppard, which is just like, but I love it because it's all music, I still think of Pat like, Germs and stuff. It's just like so interesting, like the all these, different sort of factions of rock music coming together and just everybody's musicians and everybody's just playing and celebrating, and it was really fun. So yeah, so that was brilliant. Pink was great. She sang so good. She sang Barracuda with Nancy Wilson. That was really brilliant. And then she also singing Pretender with Foo Fighters at the end, with her and Dave both singing like kind of co-lead vocal and the harmonies and stuff. It was so strong and it sounded so killer, like really, 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 really good. What else? It was amazing to see Alex Lifeson and Geddy Lee up there. That was really great. Brian May, of course, whose tone, by the way, just on a guitar, selfish guitaristic perspective, his sound was so great in the PA, that AC30 thing. It was just so great. Really brilliant. Who else that really stood out? All the drummers were great, and it's interesting when you're watching all those different drummers play with Foo Fighters, how it's like to hear the different feels and stuff. It's just really fascinating. But I thought that the fellow, his name is John, I'm forgetting his last name, I think it's John, from Queens of the Stone Age, he sounded so effortless when he played with them. It just seemed like it was just a perfect feel. So he was really terrific. And what else? What else was great during the? Just so many moments, man, that it's hard to remember. MVP to me was Chris Shiflett because he had to play solos and kind of key guitar parts with so many different artists. He was really brilliant. And Dave is like otherworldly, like how he goes all night like that, like for a 6-hour show, playing bass, playing guitar, playing drums, sitting in with everybody, so busy. Like that guy's amazing. He's just an amazing musician. And terrific vibe from him, of course, because he just put it all together. And he's a guy that makes things happen. It's really amazing. There's a few people like that in the world where they just put things together, and that's what he does, and it's so brilliant. So Richard says Chris Shiflett really showed some range. He did. He's like to me, like in the Foo Fighters, like Nate and Chris are they're like the hardworking musicians that can get, like sidemen, sort of. I mean, they're in a band and they've been in a band for like 20 years, but they also have the sideman energy, where they're just versatile and they can, kind of like Chris Chaney, right? I mean, getting up and playing bass with, I mean, he played with, James forever, but he's got a sideman thing that he does where it's just, he's a great versatile musician that can slot into different gigs and stuff like that. So I found that interesting too. And I thought Chris really did a terrific job playing with everybody. And of course, Shane played as well. He played 2 songs. That's Taylor's son. He was terrific on drums. It was really terrific. It was so many great moments, and it was just a warm vibe. So that's some of my thoughts. If you've got any more specific questions about it, I'll answer. But it was just really, really fun. So terrific time. I've got so much to talk about this week. I've got other things to talk about as well. But Todd says, I felt the same way. So weird having different heroes playing together. Pat Smear playing Phil Collen 3 Humbucker Explorer, which was an old Ibanez, right? Which is great, like the Phil Collen 80s. I think that's what he had, right? And that was so cool. I remember a friend of mine in a band having one of those in the 80s, like in an early band of mine, my junior high band. The guitar player had a Phil Collen 3 pickup Ibanez Destroyer, one of those 80s ones. So pretty neat. Just on a quick aside here, Josh was asking about going to Pasadena. What are some good spots for dinner? The first place that comes to mind is it's a really terrific Mexican restaurant that I've got to give props to. It's so good, and the margaritas are amazing, and the really nice staff. So Anayas, 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 I think is how it's spelled. It's on Colorado, and can't think of a better, if you like Mexican food. They do this 3 enchilada combo that's got rice and beans, and it's like, you get a chicken, a beef, and a cheese enchilada. And it sounds basic, but it's so friggin' good. And all their tortillas there are homemade, and it's just really, really delicious. The tacos are great. Everything's great there. So it comes highly, highly recommended by me. If you're not into that, really good wood-fired pizzas at the Luggage Room Pizzeria, and it's a really nice vibe too. And they have a bunch of other stuff there because they're actually connected to a place called the Grand Orange Cafe, I think it's called, and it's like sister restaurants that are connected right next door, and you can order from each restaurant if you're in one or the other. So you can grab a beer at the Stone Brewery that's right next door. Stone has a famous craft brewery, right? And they have their own sort of store there. It's not open very late. It's only open till maybe 9 on a Monday or a Sunday, but you can go there at 8 or something, grab a beer, and then go over next door, and that's a fun hang too. So there's 2 suggestions: pizza or Mexican food. What else? Peter says, wasn't Alex playing a Fractal FM9? He may have been. His guitar sounded cool. I don't know. It's quite possible. I'm not sure who was using what, to be honest. I know Justin Hawkins played a Friedman, because I saw Dave getting the amp ready to send over. So he used a BE. Chris plays Friedmans and boxes, I think, right? Chris Shiflett. Other guitar, Wolf, of course, had his you know, a variation of a 50-watt EVH amp there, which sounded really good in the PA as well. So that's it. That's it. Okay. Who else? Who else? Shiflett even nailed the Atlantis stuff perfectly. Yeah, I mean, he had to play with so many different people, you know, and he really sounded great. You know, doing all the different parts. He's just it was a you know, and he was up there for a long time, and you could just see him. Was wearing like a jean shirt, and he's like sweating like through the shirt, you know, just like and just in it all night to win it, you know, and like doing a great job, like just killing it with everybody. You know, a lot of prep and learning, and so I thought that was great. You know, he was terrific. I got a few other things to mention just right out of the gate here. One thing that I'd like to announce is that I'm actually going to start making more amplifier videos. So for different amplifiers. I've decided to do that after a long sort of period of me not really doing that because I've got my signature PT100 amp with Sir. I've got my PT15 with Sir. None of that changes. You know, I've got my signature stuff. But I just see the other guys out there that make videos and are on YouTube and stuff doing this, you know, whether it's Rabia or Ola or all these different guys, you know, they make videos. And I feel like I've been closing myself off from that for years and years and years. And to be honest, it's got, you know, it's just more different kinds of videos I can make, and that's a good thing. So I can expand the channel. It's also for my own interest level because, you know, I've been making videos for pedals, which I love, you know, for years and years and years and years. But there's only so many videos for pedals you can make before, you know, it's like, and some players aren't even pedal players. They're like, I'm a plug into the amp kind of guy, you know, or girl, you know, whatever. So it's like they want to see more of that. And I made that video for the little Dark Gene amp recently, this one, and people were like, man, you know, some of the comments were like, I really wish you made more videos for amps. And I just thought, okay, so, you know, I talked to my friends at Sir and said, look, I think this is something I need to do, and they were very supportive of it and cool, and they're understanding that it's a different world now, and the way that I make my way in this business and stuff is different than the way people did in the 80s or the 90s or even the early 2000s with YouTube and stuff. And this is what I do. So I kind of need to do it. So that's going to happen. So, you know, that'll open up. It'll be hopefully interesting. I'm really excited about the concept of, you know, and the prospect of getting to dial in some different amps like I do I've been doing the amps in the zone videos, and I don't really consider that like I never considered it a conflict because those are vintage amps mainly, you know, high watts and, you know, Sound City and, you know, whatever, you know, all the different amps that I've done. So now, you know, it'll be, you know, just newer amps that I can, you know, new stuff coming out and stuff that I can make videos of and stuff. So, and that, you know, nothing changes with my signature Sir products that I obviously use on the road and support and use here in the studio and everything and continue to develop. So, yeah, so that's fun. What else? That Marshall on top of the bookshelves. What if it fell on your head? Those things are so heavy. It's way over there, though. If it fell, it would hit the floor and break into pieces. And then I'd have to get a new head shelf for it, and probably the chassis would be bent. But, you know, it's like, this is not coming down easily anytime soon. It's up there pretty solid. It's back a little bit from the edge, and, you know. Harley Benton guitars, says Megan. What do you think about Harley Benton? Shouting in caps. I don't really think about Harley Benton that much. I don't know that much about them. We don't really see them in the United States that much because they're a Thomann brand. So Europe, I know they're the thing. You know, you see them over there a lot, but I don't know. People seem to like them, you know, and they seem to enjoy them, and they seem to make a decent guitar for a low price, you know, and whatnot. So Richard says, "Did you know Taylor?" Taylor was very sweet every time I met him. I wouldn't say I knew him real well. We met. I think the first time I ever met him was probably in 2015 in the lobby of the Roppongi Grand Hyatt. Foo Fighters were there playing Summer Sonic, and I was there playing a big festival at Fuji, and I ended up seeing Pat in the lobby because I know Pat from way back because it's a long story. I knew Pat's wife 20 years ago or 25 years ago. God, so she's from Canada, and so I said hello to Pat, and what are you guys doing here? Oh, we're playing Summer Sonic. Oh, okay. And then Taylor was there, and we ended up talking for a bit, and that was cool. Then the next time I saw him was just after Chris Cornell had passed. Foos were playing Summer Sonic again, and I went to their show. I know Rami as well. I know a few of those guys, but I would say I knew Taylor the least, actually, out of Rami and Pat. I know Rami and Pat. Rami was, a side guy. I mean, playing with, he's a keyboard player, right? He played with Wallflowers way back with my friend Yogi, who was my guitar partner in Chris Cornell's band and stuff. And so, like, 6 degrees of separation all the time with musicians our age in LA. So then I saw Taylor at the Summer Sonic, and I was backstage in the Food's dressing room or whatever. And then he says, "Dude, I'm so sorry to hear about Chris." And I said, "I know." And then we sat down and we talked for a while about Chris and what had happened, and what exactly was, so it was like that, and we had a good long talk at that point. And then I saw him the next time at Chris's tribute concert at the Forum, and we talked about again briefly there. So I think those were my only interactions I had with him, but he was always really sweet, just a nice guy. It was fun. And I remember in Roppongi that time, or at the Summer Sonic and hanging with them, we all ended up going to Roppongi and going to the Lexington Queen, if anybody knows that place in Tokyo. If you're a rocker, you might know it. But we ended up going. I remember it was like me and my friend Dennis and the drummer from Royal Blood and Taylor and a couple other people all went out after. And we're up very late. But anyways, so there was that. That moment as well. He was a really nice guy, sweetheart, and obviously, in it to win at Rock and Roller, and it's a tragic loss. So, sad. And I loved how he always honored people on his kick drum, like he had a picture of Cornell on his kick drum, and then at all at the two tribute shows on the kit was a picture of Olivia Newton-John. It's a really nice gesture, so that he would do those things. Where's the bumblebee? I just grabbed it to take the thumbnail. It's back there. It's over there against the couch. So yeah. Okay. I suppose I should move down. There's some super chats here that I should grab and stuff. So have you ever played the Chandler rack delay? That thing was pretty cool, I think, but no, I think it's kind of a bit of a classic. But I don't think I ever. Maybe I did. Like, it wasn't out in the 80s. It was a long time ago. I'm trying to remember. Mark saying thanks for the restaurant suggestions in San Gabriel Valley. That's Pasadena area. You bet, man. You bet. Tom says I love Stone Brews. Yeah, you would like it then. This place that's right by the pizza place. The Mexican restaurant, if any of you guys get to try it, Anais is absolutely fantastic. Tell them I sent you. Okay. Was Wolf playing that semi-hollow thing? I'm just running down through the chat here really quick because I got to get to the super chats. He was playing a semi-hollow guitar, and it sounded really good in the PA. His tone was good. Mark says, looking forward to your amp videos. Hint, hint. Yes, sir. By the way, your sounds great. Your amp pedal. That's this one, right? I'm not. Here's one that's coming. This I would have done anyway, because this is a kind of a hybrid. It's so different. I've been making videos of things that are very different than my traditional, my amps, 100-watt heads or 15-watt heads. These sort of more pedal board, or I don't know if this could be considered pedal board, be a big pedal board, but it's a bit more of a hybrid tube, and I assume Class D power amp. I'm not 100% sure about that. Mark, maybe you can clear that up if the power amp is Class D. But it sounds really good. So that's coming, a video for that. And, a few others, as well as just now more traditional amp heads. So are you going to keep the Duke of Tone on your board? I think I probably will put it on my board because it sounds great for that the low gain boosted, just a bit hairy over the top thing. Right now I've got a Wampler Bell on there, which is like a, in that slot, which is like a Nobles. And it sounds great, and I've been using it, but I think I might move to the, at least try it for a bit, the Duke of Tone, because it does that, a very similar thing to me. But maybe it's just a little warmer with a bit more mids or something. So I might try that, I think, for a bit. Both are great, though. Todd says, I hope you're not feeling forced into doing it. I think you mean amp videos. No, I'm actually excited about it. I want to make amp videos because I love amps. So I'm an amp guy, and I've been closing myself off on it for years. And I love making the amps in the zone videos, and people seem to like them as well. So the dialing in pedals is great, and but I've been doing it for like, I mean, it's like 10 years of pedals, now. And it's like the idea of digging into an amp and just playing some raw amp tones sounds so much fun to me, and dialing them in and trying different things and just exploring their different strengths and stuff. And it'll inform me as well, because I get a lot of questions about amps, like, have you tried this one, have you tried that one? Have you? It's like, actually no, like, because I don't really do videos about amps. So the chance to try some more newer stuff that's coming out will just educate me as well. And so I think it'll be good. AP says, how are you doing? I'm doing good, man. I feel good. I had a good night's sleep last night. I've been burning the candle both ends all week, and I drove out to Vegas and drove back yesterday. So I drove out Saturday, drove back. Drove out Friday. Saw the show that night. Britt was playing with Demi Lovato, and it was great. And then I drove back next day, so it was good. Demi Lovato made a really good record, man. I just gotta give that woman props, because it's pretty rare you go see a show. Her fans are like now 20, 30 something. Of course, she had started off with two kind of I would say sort of rock punk pop records, and then kind of went way more pop for a long time. And then now has made a rock record that's got some pretty gnarly tracks on it that go pretty friggin' hard. But it's such an honest record, and the lyrics on it are, I mean, it's really good. I really think, at 30, she seems very, very comfortable doing that kind of music. I think she's doing exactly what she wants to do. Yeah, she started with Disney and stuff, and but she's had a checkered, troubled past and stuff, and been through stuff like all of us, right? And now it seems like she made a record where she's like, it's some of the most honest lyrics. I mean, it strikes me as very honest, and it seems like she's doing exactly what she wants to do. And so I was just going to say that her fans are singing every word to every song of all the new songs, even if they're not singles, and even if they haven't blown up to be huge. The people that are there are so into it, and they're singing all the words, and they're just like, really into it. And it's some pretty, like, it's not trite, the lyrics, it's about addiction and about recovery and about how she actually feels about that stuff, and about not wanting to compromise, and about wanting to be, and like all that kind of stuff that for like a woman at 30 that's been through a bunch of stuff. And my audience here is kind of older, I think, right? So we've all been through stuff, and it's like, what that's like when you go through, and you're finally finding your way, and you're kind of coming into your own. You didn't die. I mean, there's a song about that, right? Skin on my teeth. That's what it's all about, right? Like, I'm alive by the skin of my teeth, right? Like, could be dead right now. And it's heavy stuff, It's like, she's like really like, I don't know. It's just cool, very human. So I appreciated that about it. It might be a record that I never, would have gotten into had Brett not gotten the gig, and she's out playing drums with her now and doing it. And because of that, it brought me around. I paid attention to it and listened to it. And I think there's an honesty to it that is great, and I love that. So anyways, Metropolis DVL1 head. See, I don't know about that. Bent Tom, don't know about that. I'll have to check that out. I'm gonna have to check it. So you'll be able to review Dave's BE Deluxe Synergy module. If it's whatever people will essentially contract me to do, right? That I'm interested in doing. There is something from Dave that's coming that I think I'll be doing pretty soon here, but I can't tell you what it is because it's new. So, but we'll see where it goes, But I love Dave, and I love his, what he does, and so that'll be fun to get into some of his products, as well as, yeah, from all kinds of people. So Merkava with a super chat there. By the way, thanks for the super chat there. And Merkava's got one as well. Did I see you put the Wilkinson locking saddles on a standard 6-screw trim? How did that work out? It worked out great. I've got it on my white Sir Classic. Is it in here? No, it's not. It's in the other. No, it's not. It's in the other room. But that was a total success. I put them on I think the Godot bridge, and the saddles fit perfectly on the. Excuse me. On the base plate for the Godot, and I swear to God, I wasn't expecting this, but it sounded better. So that might be the one thing you notice if you try them on a 6-screw, Godot style. It had the bent saddles, not, and then these are of course more like a solid saddle, but its tone seemed more resonant. The whole guitar seemed louder. So that was something that I wasn't expecting, and it was a nice, pleasant surprise. And yes, it stayed in tune really good after, even with vintage style tuners. It had the slotted, vintage style tuners. I might get the tuners replaced on that guitar. That guitar needs a little love, so I need to take it to Sir and maybe have might get some locking tuners, just have the nut looked at and stuff. It's a really nice guitar, that white. It's a white classic I have. Yeah. Virtual amps, record with them or real amps? It just depends on what you want to do. I'll use all kinds of stuff. Going back to Guitar Nerd, the song "Into the Ether" was all Axe effects. And then on that record, there's some plugins too. Early version of Guitar Rig on one song, and you probably wouldn't guess which one. It's like the kind of organic clean tone at the beginning of 10th Street. That's Guitar Rig 2 or something. And if you listen to it, it's kind of interesting, actually. If you go back and listen to 10th Street, that started out as one of the very first things I recorded when I started getting into recording on a Mac. So the whole first verse into kind of through the first chorus is all Guitar Rig. And I liked the performance. And then when I was making the record it was like a good 5 years later when I started making the record or something, I decided to keep that performance and then just build the song around it, add real drums or, Toss Panos played drums on that, I think. But so I built around kind of my demo track, and then I wanted to go back and have the same part that was at the beginning at the end, right? To kind of have an outro. But of course, I'd recorded the part so many years earlier. I didn't even have Guitar Rig anymore. That version didn't have the sound. Sorry, I keep burping. So I had to go back and figure out how to get that sound again, or like recreate it. And I think I did it with a real amp, and probably used like an EQ matching plugin or something like that in order to. So if you listen to the first verse and if you listen to the outro, the intro of the song and then the outro of 10th Street, the outro is recorded years later and with a completely different setup than the first one. But I think I got the tones to match pretty close. So, which is kind of funny. It's kind of, I was like trying to match a plug-in sound with like a real amp, I think at the end. So whatever, the moral of the story is whatever works, I just do whatever, we can make all this stuff sound good. It's like, honestly, we can, there's so many great tools these days. And if you know how to use them, you can make it all work. Here's it from Peter Lasis. Hey man, super chat. Happy Sunday, and thanks for all you do. Any updates on the EVM 12L video? Dave was talking to you. I spoke to Dave about it, and I think we decided that what we would do, I have a couple of Sir 412s here that have greenbacks in them, and we were talking about maybe, because they're 8-ohm 412s, and the speakers, the EVs are suitable for whatever the ohmage is. I guess they're 8-ohm speakers. So he's like, why don't we take 2 EVs and put them in your cabinet, since it's an 8-ohm 412. Most 412s, like Friedman 412s or whatever, Marshalls, they're all 16 ohms, right? So it creates this issue. And he said, if we put them in your cabinet, they'll match. It'll be 8 ohms. And I was like, yeah, why don't we do that? Why don't we put I think the idea is we'll take an old 12L, the new Zakk Wylde version, and put those like maybe in the top or something. and then keep the Celestians in the bottom, and then make a video. I can compare the new EV to the classic EV, and then we can maybe just reference what a Celestian sounds like, all in the same cab. So I think that's what's happening. So we did decide to do that. So there's been a little discussion about what we're going to do. Now we just have to move ahead and do it. Yeah. Another super chat here. You played Fuji in 2015. I was there. What groups did you play for? So the Fuji show I played in 2015 was called Tsuyoshi Nagabuchi concert called All Night Live, and it was not a part of Fuji Rock or anything like that. It was a different show. So it was just us playing. It was only our band at the show I played. Does Rami still have a studio? I don't know. I think so. I mean, he had this great big space a number of years ago, and the last time I was there was for a Foos barbecue thing that it was really fun. But I lose track of time because it was pre-pandemic by probably it was probably the summer before the pandemic or something, I think, was when that was. And I just lose track of how many years ago that is now. Is it 3 years ago, probably, at least, right? Yeah. Okay, moving down through the chat here. Looking at Mark says it's a Class D. Okay, Class D power amp in that TX Watt. Or Texas Watt, TX Watt, I'm not sure, amp that you're doing, Mark. This one. I'll be making a video of this. It's a hybrid tube preamp, I guess, with Class D power amp. Sounds good. Sounds really good. So video on that coming. If you could see the floor right now, it gives me anxiety. But, yeah. Would love a straight up compare and contrast with your two signature model SIRs. Are you talking guitars? I can do that really quick, actually, if you want. Happy to do that. It's a nice, quick thing we can talk about. So, same body shape, if that's what we're talking about. It's the standard body shape on both, right? But this one, this is the new version. The body on this is solid alder and doesn't have scrape binding or a maple top or anything like that. So that would be one difference right there. This one, of course, mahogany body, scrape binding, maple top. Completely different body wood. Necks. Let's talk about the necks for a sec. So the neck on the original one, it's this one. I'm reversed here, so I keep holding up the wrong one. I'll look at the camera. This is a mahogany neck rosewood fingerboard, much like, Les Paul style woods. The whole guitar is Les Paul style woods, really. The neck shape on this is the even C slim, which is just a nice kind of modern Stratty C. And you can see that the neck is painted on this, but it has a very smooth satin kind of feel. Actually, this one feels really, really, really similar. And so they're not that different feeling. And the neck would be a little bit thinner on this guitar. Now, when we went to do this one, because some people are like, oh, even C slim is too slim for me, and I like different necks. So I thought, well, why don't I try and address that? I don't mind going with a bigger neck. There was a slightly bigger neck on my 2009 or 8 Sir Classic that's green, the Cadillac green one. And it was a really, really wonderful neck. So we digitized it and copied it for this. Now, it feels not worlds apart from this one, but it does have a bit more meat in the back and a bit of a soft V down to about the 5th fret. And then it just becomes a nice C after that. So just a little bit fuller, but it's still got, the shoulders are real, like vintage feeling to me. It doesn't have the super fat shoulders. It's got a little more sculpted in the shoulders. So it's got a slightly bigger neck, slightly wider, 1.687 nut. This one's 1.65. So just ever so slightly wider and with that soft V. So that's the same thing. Fret size is the same. The heavies, the big ones, or jumbo, I guess they call them. Not heavy, jumbo. I always say, whatever's closest to a 6100, that's what I like. Fingerboard on this guitar is ebony. And the main reason why I went with ebony was the look. And you can see why, because of the blacked out, the dark pickguard, the dark headstock. I wanted it with the silver and everything, just kind of do that, you know, whereas we went with straight up Les Paul woods on this one. So you can see it's a slightly lighter. This is a nice dark piece of rosewood, but it's still a little more chocolate brown than the other one, you know. So those are the main differences in the guitars. Of course, this is a maple neck and this is mahogany, so different, the radically different woods on both guitars. All the woods are different. Pickups wise, Thornbucker 2 on this one with two V63 singles. So the Thornbucker 2 is an Alnico 2 9K, but our Thornbucker wind, nice and warm. Sounds amazing in the split position with the middle single. Yeah, so that's the pickups. This one, Thornbucker Plus in the bridge and Thornbucker in the neck. You know, so, and that's, I'm going to say about it, I think, on the differences. So any specific questions that I didn't cover, let me know. So a lot of similarities and I guess a lot of differences, you know, in the two guitars. I love them both though and have a lot of fun. Moving down. It's great to have all you guys here. It's 350 people here. Nice to have you. Sorry I was a few minutes late. T-Top says, super chat there, have you had a chance to badger Dave F about protoring that pedalboard friendly solid state power amp? Shut up and take my money, Dave. I'll tell him you said that. I'll tell him. I'm sure they'll do it at some point. I would think. I will tell him. Thanks for the super chat as well. I haven't really talked to him more about it, but that's just because I've been out of town and running around, busy. Vincent says he's making pedal recommendations for each amp you demo review would be a cool spin on the reviews. Oh, that's a good idea, Vincent. Like, okay, to boost this amp, what would I use? Let's try it. Maybe that's a pretty cool idea of maybe, you know, if I do some amp videos, incorporating a pedal or two into the mix and saying, okay, let's hit it with this pedal or that pedal and see how it responds. I like that. That's cool. And of course, if there's an effect loop, I'll probably try that and stick a delay in the loop or something and see how it does and that kind of thing too. So incorporating a little bit of effect into each video, that might be nice. With my current pedal board, there's a screamer on there. There's a Klon on there, you know, via their boutique versions of both, of course. But I've got a fuzz on there, muff style fuzz. So that would be real easy to kind of hit with the different pedals and try, you know, see what it sounds like with a few different pedals, as well as I think I'll put the Prince of Tone. Sorry, not the Prince of Tone, the Duke of Tone on my board as well, so I could show that and do the clean channel and that kind of thing. Good idea, Vincent. Yeah. Or put together a band and play your tunes. This is ideas for videos to break things up. I bet 245,000 people would be interested in going. Yeah, I mean, always, you know, but there's always projects to do. More than playing my tunes live, I want to record another record right now because I feel like it's time. It's 2018. I need to get more music out. Like I feel like on a soul level, I feel like I need to release more songs. And I want to make some records. I'm jealous of my friends that put out great records, and then the next year they put out another record, and it's like I haven't put out anything since 2018. You know, I was listening to my friend Jordan's record in the car yesterday, the Blinker the Star, the Juvenile Universe album. It's so good, man. I mean, he made such a great record, and I feel like he's criminally underrated. So, if you guys haven't listened to that yet, it's such a great, warm, terrific sounding rock record in this sort of 70s way. So that's Juvenile Universe from Blinker the Star. Give it a listen. If you're fans of Rush or Genesis or you know, certainly the band that kind of influenced the album, which was Max Webster, you know, Kim Mitchell. But you know, there's an indie edge to it that Jordan always has, this 90s rock thing, but there's some real throwback to the sonics of it. Everything's recorded so well. It's a beautifully mixed record, and it just has a warmth to it that's really beautiful. So I wish more people would listen to him and check out his music, because he's a really, really great artist. So anyways, I want to, you know, I listen to that and then I want to make some records, you know? So Todd says, I just think that Demi seems like right now she wants to be Avril Lavigne. Even the songs sound like they're written by Avril. I wouldn't agree with that, you know. I wouldn't agree with that. Maybe a little bit on some of the stuff, but Eat Me doesn't sound like Avril Lavigne. I don't think. I mean, go listen to that song. That song goes hard, man. It's great. And Freak's really good too. There's a punk pop thing that's always going to be there because, yeah, sure. I mean, she came up just after Avril would have been popular, and she's just, probably what, 8 years younger or something, and that was probably an influence of hers, But Demi's dude, singing live. She's ridiculous. Like her voice is ridiculous, and the lyrics are more. I mean, if you go listen to some of the, go read some of the lyrics. I mean, read the lyrics to Eat Me or read the lyrics to Happy Ending's kind of a, it's a pop ballad really, but it's so heavy. It's like, the whole concept of the chorus is am I gonna die trying to find my happy ending? Like, because she's been through so much stuff and she's just like trying to feel normal, but she's like crawling in her own skin and always uncomfortable. And that's why she used, and, why she was, why she's an addict and recovering, and the whole line about like, everybody's proud of me because I'm sober now, but I miss my vices. That's a common theme amongst, recovering addicts that, that I've spoken with, where they talk about their addictions with kind of almost like the good old days, the wind. Like if I only could have kept going without dying, it would be great, but I can't because I'm going to friggin' die if I can't continue on that path. So I can't, and I'm going to hold it together. But I really wish I could, like that's heavy to me. Like that's just so human, and because people are so flawed, and that's kind of the stuff she touches on. So when you say Avril Lavigne, it's like she's not writing Skater Boy lyrics, It's kind of letting it all hang out on a human level, and that's where the difference is mainly to me. Like, but aside from the, whatever the chord changes and stuff, and the sonics or production, I'm more into the depth of like what she's actually talking about. I guess is all I'm saying. And it's heavy, and I commend her because, man, I was standing out there in the crowd and watching the people, and there's like, dudes in their 30s or whatever, and they're singing every word to that stuff and putting up the heart and going like, and they're feeling that stuff, because it's so human, and people need to. I just commend her on writing a really honest record that's not just pop. Even if you listen to her previous record, which I have a little bit, which put out 2 years ago, it's sort of touching on some of this stuff, but it's not as honest. I feel like, I mean, there's honesty there, but it's still a little more glossy. And then like, it's this is interesting to me, So this guy always pops up in my YouTube comments. Marvin Martin's always telling me to shave my head. Are you going to keep telling me to do that? Are you going to stick around? Because I think I'll miss you if you're gone. But it's like, you've been saying this for years. It's kind of funny. Come up with a new one. Tell me to do something else with my hairstyle instead of shave my head and daring me. Yeah. So, all right. There's some goofballs in the. Look at this guy. How bad are feral hogs in your area? So interesting. Is everybody going crazy? I think everybody's going crazy. I would love to hear your observations on how to write great lyrics. I'm not a lyricist, really. I've contributed lyrics to songs, but I'm not a lyricist. I like writing with good lyricists. I will say this: the lyricists that I've witnessed writing lyrics or been around really seem to enjoy it. So you have to enjoy it, number one, which I really don't, but they do. So just in the same way I enjoy writing music, they seem to enjoy writing lyrics. So I'm getting into it. But I remember Courtney Love, who's written some pretty cool lyrics over the years, but she was like, she would get a piece of paper and then just write reams and reams and reams. And she'd just say, just play the chords around. And I would just I'd sit there and play 4 chords over and over again. She'd be singing her and she'd be writing. And you could the pen was like, and she'd write and write and write. And we'd do that for like 15 minutes where she wouldn't stop writing. And she'd just keep writing and writing and writing and writing, like just trying things, I think, And I was really cool because it was like, I'm sure nobody showed her that. It's just how she does it. So it was like a stream of consciousness kind of thing where she was just looking to get the ideas out and say things that were meaningful or resonated, but just trying everything, not editing. So I think that's the main thing, is not editing. And I feel that way with music too. like trying things and not being hard on yourself. Just let the thing flow until you land on what you want, without editing. So that's, that I would say that's something I've witnessed people doing. It made sense to me on a musical level. Why not? It's all creativity. It's all coming from the same place. So yeah. Colin says, have you heard the new Kim Thale stuff with Chris Novoselic and Jack and Cena? A little bit. I mean, I've heard just kind of what I've seen online and stuff, and it sounds pretty cool. Yeah, and I agree. I mean, Soundgarden is a sum of those parts, and the sound of Matt and certainly Ben's bass. Nobody plays like him. The bass on 4th of July is the best example I can think of. How he came up with that is amazing to me. Like how he would play that, it sounds like an ogre coming at you, it's like so interesting, the bass on 4th of July. And then how Chris wrote a beautiful melody on top of it all when it's this undulating mess of like vat of muck, that's like stirring around, and then he writes this melody on the top that's just absolutely surreal how pretty it is, and it's like that Soundgarden. It's like, and then Matt being kind of the powerhouse drummer that he is, where he's just like he sounded great the other night, by the way, playing, and Dave Grohl gave him props. They played Low, which Dave said this is not a song we play live often. By the way, has anybody ever seen the video for Low by the Foo Fighters? Check it out. It was banned off of whatever, any video channels. They couldn't play it, but it's interesting with Jack Black. It's really funny. I knew somebody that worked on it. They were like a key grip or something on the crew, and they were like, oh my god, we just made this video that's so out of control. But the drums on it, Matt got up and played Low with Foods the other night, and Dave said the drums on it are basically Jesus Christ posts. So there you go. And Matt was like, yeah. And then they went into it, and he just killed it. I mean, he's so, he's just like a powerhouse back there, consistent, and killer. So that was another really cool moment from the other night, was watching Matt play with Foos. Matt, drummer in both Pearl Jam. Everybody always talks about him like he's the drummer from Soundgarden. It's like, yeah, but he's also been the drummer in Pearl Jam for over 10 years, right? It's like amazing, And so anyway, he's ferocious. Oh, brother. Todd says, did you get the amp you ordered? No. So the guy that I bought the GK from, 250 ml, he's a touring musician. He's like, dude, I'm so sorry I haven't had time to ship it. I'm on tour. And I'm like, dude, just don't worry about it. Just send it. I think the first week of, when's he going to send it? It's like, I can't even remember now. I need to go back and look at the Reverb thread. But I was like, just send it when I'm sure I'll have it within the next month or something. I'm not concerned. He told me he'd refund the shipping or, and I was like, it's okay. I've got a lot to do. So whenever you get it to me, it was an impulse buy anyway, so I don't have it yet, but okay, what else? Let's see. If you have to get rid of one guitar between, so hypothetically, I own all these. Is that the question? PRS, DGT, Santana Retro, or Special 22 Semi-Hollow. The one I would pick out of all of those to keep would be the David Grissom, just because I had a McCarty, which is what I think the Grissom was then sort of modeled after. So I would keep the David Grissom. Special 22 Semi-Hollow, though, sounds like it's probably also a 22 fret. So that could be cool. But I would say I'd probably get rid of the Santana, just because the traditional PRS 24 fret thing and stuff isn't really as much my thing as a 22 fret with the wider pickup spacing and all that kind of stuff. So I would probably get rid of the Santana. But you might be all about the 24 fret PRS thing. So kind of apples and oranges to me. What else we got here? Ben says, over 300 watching and only 70 likes. Come on. Thanks, Ben, for the props, and thanks for being here. We got 395 online. Hit that like if you would. Don't mind. It helps spread the video across the worldwide interwebs via the algorithm. What is the gear you expected to have as a hired gun besides guitar and amp? Well, road cases, yeah, for sure. You probably need a wireless system. Yeah. In-ear monitors. You probably need a set of those. You're going to show up at places where they're going to be like, we're using in-ears. And you're like, I don't have any. And they're like, what? You should have some. Used to be that they would buy them for you. But now it's kind of like, it's a different economy we're in. And sometimes they will, if you're on a big tour, they'll get you new molds. But more often than not, I've shown up at auditions and they've been like, oh, by the way, we're on in-ears today. Is that okay? It's like, yeah, I brought mine, just in case. So good set of in-ear monitors, a decent wireless system. The thing about wireless is, like, I've got the creme de la creme Shure Axient system now, which I love, and I can take all over the world, but it's really expensive. Not everybody's going to go and fork out for one of those things. So what you're going to find yourself doing is often it'll be a backline thing where they'll rent you, the Shure wireless du jour, depending on the country that you're in, that'll work it on the frequencies. I did a whole video about this, by the way, if you want to watch my video on Shure wireless and which one is right for you. And it kind of explains why it's difficult when you're moving around the world in different regions and stuff, with available frequencies in different places and stuff. Not every wireless works all over the world. As a matter of fact, most of them don't. So long story short, I was talking with somebody recently, guitar player friend, that was saying they had a lot of problems with the ground loop issue because they went and playing Rock in Rio and they had buzz, really bad buzz. And I kind of narrowed it down, I think, to 90 or 95%. I'm pretty sure it was a ground loop between the wireless and their modeler. I'm like, yeah, you got to kind of carry a isolation transformer on the road with you. So, like, a thing to break ground loops. So that's an important thing to carry with you. If I've got mine here that I use here's one. Here's a good, simple, cheap one that you can get. So you can get this at, Musician's Friend or probably Sweetwater, the Samson MLI1. Is that what it's called? Isolation box. So you can see it's just on one end, it's a 1/4 inch in XLR. And on the other end, it's a combo jack, 1/4 inch in XLR. And there's a little switch here that says lift. So that'll switch in the isolation transformer. This will break ground loops. So this is, geeky stuff. I know you're probably wanting to know about other pieces of gear, but get one of these. This is only like $30 or $35, I think. And if you just carry this with you wherever you go, I know it's crazy, but not every wireless has a ground lift for the 1/4 inch output. They'll usually have them for an XLR out. So say you're plugging your wireless into, it goes to the receiver, and then you take the XLR out to a DI because you're playing acoustic guitar through it. Well, there'll be a ground lift on the XLR. But often on the 1/4 inch out, that if you're an electric guitar player and you're going to run that 1/4 inch out then to your amp, your modeler, or your pedal board, there won't be a lift on that 1/4 inch out, which is they should have one all the time, but they don't, So that's where this comes in. It breaks the ground loop. And, once you've been in this world for long enough, you start to realize when you plug in gear and it's going, and you're like, okay, that's probably coming from that. And then you stick it in line with a little patch cable and then flip the ground switch and the buzz goes away. So that's an important thing to have. What else? Road cases is I was recently doing the 5 for Fighting tour, and I was like, what am I going to take on this tour? I've got at this point, I have I got an amp and cabinet 412 in the UK that are just there in storage, and I have 2 PT100s and 2 212 cabinets in Japan in storage in cases. And then so that was my 3 big road cases for cabinets, the 2 that are in Japan and the 1 that's gone to England. So I was doing the 5 for Fighting tour this past summer, and I was like, what do I have around to stick cabinets in? Because I wanted to take, I was doing the whole Quad Cortex rig, but with a couple cabs on stage. And I was like, I have a kind of generic box that is a road case that I can drop things in. I think a Sir 112 will fit in there, and sure enough, it did. And then I had a 212 for a Vox AC30 style cabinet road case that I thought I could put another 112 in there and just kind of stick the thing. Sure enough, that worked. Okay, I'm using 2 112s. It was just, but I didn't have cases big enough for 2 212s, but I had you know, for I got it. So it was almost like the cases I had around here dictated the cabinets that I was going to take on the road, because I just had to put together a rig and like, what am I going to take? I've only got so many cases left. So, you know, long story short, I mean, road cases are like the, you know, the bane of my existence. It's like once you start collecting cases for all these cabinets you have and stuff, and then if you're like, okay, it'd be cheaper for me to keep a rig over here and another one over here. Well, now all my cases are gone, and I got another tour to do, and I gotta buy more cases. Oh God, like I don't want more road cases because they take up so much space. You know, it's just like an epic amount of space that you know, you need you're boxing yourself into renting a storage space pretty much, which I have to do anyway. But like, you know, it just kind of is what it is, unless you got a great big garage or you live in a part of which, if you know, many smart musicians don't live in LA and they have a house somewhere else where they can put things in their basement or their garage or whatever. So yeah. You have so much going on. When will you make a Pete solo album? Hi, Joko from Finland. I love Finland. That's the home of the Cortex. Well, I have two. I've got Pete Thorn 2 from 2018, and I've got a Guitar Nerd from 2011. So there's those two. But I want to start this, you know, towards the end of the year. I'd love to record some more songs, even if it just ends up being an EP. That's going to happen so soon. I got to get some more. Nathan says he's on a real Van Halen binge right now and wondering what was the first VH riff and first solo you ever learned. Ooh, I don't know. The first, probably You Really Got Me or something, because it was like I could do it, you know. That was probably like, you know, I'm guessing, but that might have been it. And then 1984 was kind of the album that, you know, it came out the end of 83. And that was right when I was really getting into, you know, I've been playing guitar for a year or two. And that was like, okay, then I was listening to Van Halen, but that was the new record. And then it was all over the place. And it was like, oh, I got to learn songs off the new record. You know, that was the thing. And so Panama, I can remember playing in bands when I was young and stuff. So, you know, probably some combination of like You Really Got Me, Panama. I don't think I really got into, probably learned Unchained or something too. I can't really pinpoint a memory though of it, exactly what song. Anyone here use fret protectors when your axe is in the case? I do. Those are those plastic things you slip between the strings and the frets. Originally I was like, I don't want to do that, you know. And then some of my Surs get nicks in the frets because they're solid stainless steel, I should say. The stainless steel frets, if the strings bang against the frets, they can nick the fret a little bit. And that sucks because then you get a little ding, 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 ding. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you got a nick in the fret on a stainless steel fret, it sucks. So I started using them pretty much religiously. I don't think they're really necessary if you've got standard nickel silver frets or whatever there are, nickel, you know, the old school frets. But if you've got stainless steel frets, try and use the fret protector if you transport your guitar a lot, and it'll keep the frets newer and without those terrible nicks. What drum machine do you use for demos or pre-production? I use, I don't use Drum Machine necessarily, but I use Superior Drummer 3 is the one that I use most of the time these days. Yeah. I'm moving down through the chat because there's some super chats that I missed here. This is really fun, guys. We got 405 people online. Thanks for 405. Thanks for all being here. Just contributing to the rock and roll and whatnot, says Arthur. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. That'll keep us in coffee beans around here. Thanks for the super chat. And there's Richard again. Thanks for addressing my question. Have a great Sunday. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Wow, I'm way back in you guys are talking about my signature guitars here. I've only played the first gen model, was really impressed. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it. What's the local store there? Is it the one in Ottawa that I remember visiting, doing a clinic there? It was cool. Is that that's where you're at, right? That was a nice store. I remember, good vibe, the clinic and everything. It's cool. Yeah. My niece heard was asking about the weight of my guitars, and do they come with a case? I don't think they do come with a case anymore. I think it's a gig bag now. Pretty much across the board with Sirs, it's gig bags. Pretty sure about that. It's funny, I'm not 100% sure about that, though. I should know that. But I'm 99% sure that it's gig bags. And the weight, they're, you know, I don't know. I mean, the mahogany one has a little bit of weight relief in it. So, because like really light mahogany is impossible to find these days. So, and it always has, so they generally are pretty reasonable. I mean, they're like they're not over, they're probably 8.5 or something like that, at the heaviest. Asking about interfaces, Braxall there, UA audio. I mean, I use UA, so I like PreSonus, but I used them years ago. I don't know anything about new PreSonus interfaces. I'm very happy with my X8P that I've got here in the studio, and with my smaller, they're rock solid. They sound great. I'm sold on the plugins, and so I don't really look elsewhere, because it's like, how is it going to be any better? The UA stuff sounds amazing, and it's pretty much a universally no pun intended, but universally respected product amongst pros. Like guys like Greg Wells are like, I can use this. I don't need any of my outboard anymore. I can use the virtual mic pre's and LA2As and 1176s, and it sounds as good. When he's saying that, I mean, he's done, produced and mixed, folks like Adele, and he's done a lot of big stuff. So it's pro stuff, man. Paul says a Screamer or a Halcyon. Did I say it right? This thing, I happen to have it here. I would go this way because of the added low end you can get on the switch. You can fine tune the low end. I mean, having that option is really nice. So it almost makes it into a different and better pedal, I think, than a traditional Screamer. Because you're not always going to want that low cut, depending on what your rig is, and if you're using single coils and stuff. So I have a Wampler Tumnus and Ryra clone. Any thoughts on the Keeley Oxblood compared to those? Ooh, Keeley Oxblood. I've got one here, but I honestly, I'm going to bow out of. I don't know it well enough to comment. I have to plug it in and compare. I made a dumb mistake. I put an EQ pedal in the effects loop, and it sounded awful. Did you? I mean, was it set flat? Did you start with it flat, and did you turn it on and it made an awful sound, or it just didn't sound good in the loop when you change things? I wonder. Two different situations there. Okay. I'm going to shoot down to the chat here. See the super chats I've missed and things, because I probably have. There's one right there. Are you an Orange amp fan? If so, which amp? I don't know that much about Orange amps. That's one that I don't know that much about, but I'll tell you the great video. I'll give props to Rhett, who did a terrific video for Orange amps and kind of went through, and Rick Beato has a bunch, or 3 at least, of the vintage ones. And there it is. It's in that video. Whichever one that they landed on as being the most usable. There seemed to be a couple that were sort of somewhat useless, with the circuit. And then there's one that sounded really good, which was probably, ODR 120, like something, whatever. But it had the best usable sort of rock tone out of all 3. A couple of them sounded weird to me, and then one sounded great. So watch that video that Rhett made on Orange amps, and because I found it super educational, and I learned a lot watching it. Now, having said that, I would love to make a video of I kind of want to make a solid state amp video. So if anybody, I should hit up Orange about this, because this is the head that Ty Tabor's been using on the road, which is a 200 watt solid state amp, and he really likes it. He spoke about it when I interviewed him here on my channel. And I've got a lab series like Ty used to use back in the day. I have an original lab series, and now I'm also getting this GK. So I thought maybe a solid state amps in the zone might be fun, where I do a track and feature like all 3 amps, like a modern solid state, the Orange that Ty uses, the old lab that he used to use, and the GK, and I do a song with all. That might be really cool. What do you think? Cool idea. Yeah. What is the one piece of gear that you can't live without? A tuner. A tuner and a great guitar. That would be, the 2 things. I think one of my signature instruments, either the dual humbucker or the hum single. With those, I can get an amp or use plugins or different things, to make guitar sounds. But you got to have instrument that you feel at home on. So that's my signature guitar. Have you heard Vi's cameo on that new Polyphia tune? I have, yeah. I thought it was really cool. Neat. They made a great video, and it's super modern guitaristic bliss. And I loved what he did on it. It was very different and very him, and it was cool. The one thing about their songs, I think they're incredible. The only thing is it's kind of a lick, so it's the same 4 chords over and over and over and over and over again, that song, where it's just sort of like technical brilliance over the same 4 chords. Right. And part of what I love about like somebody like Satriani, this isn't a reflection. I mean, they're great. They're Polyphia. They do what they do, and people love it. But if you're Joe Satriani, you just play a simple melody, right? Which makes it more of a song to me that you can catch on to, with then moments of technical brilliance sprinkled throughout the song, right? But, I can hear the song in my head and the way that it sounds, but the Polyphia song, but it sounds like I can hear the chord changes. I can't remember a melody. Does that make sense? I can hear the way the 4 chords cycle and the way they stop at the end of every chord cycle, and each guy does his technical brilliance thing, right? I wish that there was if I had to make a criticism of it, that there was just a more defined, it's kind of like at the end of the day, it ends up becoming like a shred jam track that you're playing technical, amazing stuff over, as opposed to one of the things that defines a song to me is melody. Rhythm, obviously harmonic, changes that are happening, melody, and if that is absent, then it's a major component to me that's absent, so that's the only thing. Like, I don't remember it because there isn't one. So that's the only thing I would say. But it was a great exercise in melding 2 worlds of, because Steve's brilliant. What he played on it was brilliant. So yeah. All right. Let's see. Have you thought of going to someone else's studio to record stuff just for a temporary change, like Matt Sorum's new studio? It's funny you mention. I'm going to go to Matt Sorum's studio, actually, because this is something I can bring up here. I'm going to be a part of an event on November 10th. It's a benefit to save the old theater. It's the Palm Springs something or other theater. I'm forgetting the name of it now. Let's look it up. In Palm Springs, California, there's an old theater there where they did, movie premieres and all kinds of stuff way back in the day. And the Plaza Theater, the historic Plaza Theater in Palm Springs. And the artists that I will be playing with are listed here: Alice Cooper, Paul Rogers, Josh Homme, Orianthi, and then it's Brian Ray and Spike Edney, Matt, John Button, me, and Teddy. So we're all the musicians that are going to jam. We're like a house band that are going to play with each of those, Alice Cooper. And so I get to play some fun songs with Alice Cooper. That should be fun. Never played with him. Certainly never played with Paul Rogers. That's going to be cool. And Josh would love to play with him. So that's happening on November 10th. If anybody wants to go, just Google search Rock the Plaza, Palm Springs, and you will find it. And that's what it's called, right? I'm saying that right. Rock the Plaza. Get it mixed up because I just did that show called Rock the Fort in Malta. So we're going to rock the Plaza. And it's basically to raise money to refurbish the theater, because it's kind of fallen into a state of disrepair, I guess. And it's just a brilliant old theater where, movie stars and things used to, one of those epic American theaters, movie premieres and things. Frank Sinatra, etc. So, yeah. So I will be going. That's off topic, but I think we're doing stuff at Matt's studio. I don't know if we're rehearsing there. I think maybe, but we will see. And I will try to film a little stuff when I'm out there. I got to be cognizant of not, stepping on anyone's toes. But if I can do something there while I'm there, a little bit with my DJI cam or something, I will make a little video about the event or something. Yeah. Okay. What else? Jason says, were you tempted to duel with the weird guy who said he would smoke you on guitar on Facebook? No. Somebody sent me a rude message, saying I'm a dick because I didn't add him on Facebook, and I could smoke you on guitar, man. So I screenshot it and posted it on my Facebook. I'm not trying to shame the guy, but you should know when you send something to people on the internet that it has it's not like there's some sort of right to privacy, right? So, the comments were mostly positive. There was a few negative, like, you're being a dick now. I'm like, not really. Look what the guy said, The reality is, I will mention, it's a good time to bring this up. This is the few hours every week that I set aside to kind of interact as much as possible with people and answer questions and talk with you guys directly. Because I'm just like everybody else. I got to work all week and hang out, sleep, eat, work, drive in my car in LA like everybody has to get places, right? And get things done. And I'm trying to accomplish as much as possible. And you sometimes, get criticism if you're sort of a, whatever, public or, and we're more like people that are public are a little more accessible than ever now via IG Messenger, Facebook Messenger, and then all the ways that people contact you, like WhatsApp and just traditional, texting, email, phone calls, like all these different ways that it's all coming at you. Man, I'm telling you, if you answered if I answered all the correspondence that came and questions and stuff, there'd be no way I'd get any videos done or play guitar or even have time to eat and sleep and stuff, because it's a lot when that's all. So, you do the best you can, but like, I don't actually really this is the other thing. I don't really like Facebook. How do you guys feel about that? I don't like Facebook as I feel like it's been a negative kind of, I know IG's owned by Facebook and all that, and I still post to my music page. But if I open that up and I start to get involved in it and the political discussions and the stuff from it's just it's a massive time hole that doesn't get me anywhere, any of us really, right? And just a black hole of and I don't feel like it's been a positive thing. So I kind of just years ago, I don't like Facebook. I just kind of don't use it really. So when people send me friend requests on Facebook, the other thing is I didn't want my, how there's a 5,000 limit on Facebook. I didn't want it to become like like there's 5,000 people. There's, 4,900 people on there that I've never met in my life, but that I've friended, and then there's 100 people that are my family and friends that I've met or whatever, and that I actually know. And all their stuff just gets lost in the feed of all this. It becomes useless, right? So I don't add people on my personal Facebook. Long story short, number one, I don't use it, so I rarely look at the requests that show up there. But also, I'd rather have, and you'll hear this a lot, that people will just start over and start under an alias or something, and then they'll add their 50 friends and family on Facebook. It's kind of what you need to do, because otherwise it's just useless. You can't, if you're using it as a way to stay in touch with people you actually know, so that's that. But I do use my music page. I'll just post to there when I, put up, photos of guitar stuff or new videos or whatever. I'll post to the music page. But I don't get a chance, unfortunately, to look at a lot of the messages that come in there and everything. I find it overwhelming. I find it overwhelming. Like it's like I'm getting anxiety thinking about it, and how my mind right now, where I went, was like, you're a bad person for not looking at all the messages. You should try harder to look at. There's a part of my, that's doing that in my, and it's like, I can't, like, I feel anxious and anxiety about it, and about all the correspondence, and how I'm not good at email, and how I'm not good at texting people back sometimes. And it's all these voices in my head, right? That's the way I actually feel about it. So when the guy's like, you're a dick for not responding, it's like, it's actually really like a mean thing to say to people, like, in a way, because it's like, I've got anxiety about it already, and I already feel like I'm underperforming, and that I'm not good at it. So this has been a great way for me to kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like, sort of, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but to kind of, as a remedy to that, is to come here and feel like we all get to hang out because I really enjoy this, kind of the direct thing. It's much easier to do this than to type an email response to something or whatever, just to talk and to hang out with you guys and stuff. And we all get to be here, and I learn things every week, and it's like, it's really fun for me. So this works good for me. And it's the best way to kind of get in touch with me, I think, in a world full of, where there's like a million ways for people to contact you. I find this actually enjoyable and really therapeutic. So, Alex, I'd like to see Pete play the new Richard Ford signature Gretsch. I would love to do that, actually, to do a video or something. I love Richard, so he's a great guy, and I'm sure it's a great guitar. And I got to grab those super chats, and I'm missing up there. When you record at home, do you start with a drum track that you make or click and guitar track? Generally speaking, I come up with a riff or a chord progression or a melody, and then pretty quick I start to get the drums together and start to sketch them out, because then that'll lead me down the path of wherever the song's going to go, if that makes sense. So it helps me to put drums together quickly after I come up with an idea on the guitar. Being a guitar player who is always creating songs, how often do you practice playing bass? I rarely play like practice. Or do you play out of necessity? Yes. Generally, it's me sitting down to come up with a part for a song. I'd love to devote a month to just practicing bass and taking lessons and actually getting my finger chops together with this hand and thinking more like a bass player. I love playing bass. It's really fun for me, actually, like a great another side to the coin of, really, really fun. But yeah, there's only so many hours in the day, and I find myself writing music a lot and producing music as the main sort of thing that I do when I'm around here, as opposed to practicing. I guess it's practice in a way, but you're, New to Quad Cortex says guitars for your project. Thanks for the super chat. Preset mode is not gapless. That's true. Is it possible to do different amps in a scene mode to avoid that? Yes, it is. You can totally do that. Add different amps, create, elaborate effects change of things with things coming on and off. It's got 4 brains in it. So you might just have to, get creative about the routing so that you're using all the power of the thing. If you put everything in one row, you might run out of juice, so you got to kind of the way that you route and split things and stuff, but it's totally possible to do. And then scene mode is the way that I use it live, so that it's gapless and and I've figured that out, and it's been pretty flawless. I find it easy. Okay. What else we got here? I am so far back in the chat. Can I just go to the bottom of the chat and anybody in the middle here? You guys are talking about Van Halen songs, the first ones I learned, and I'm so far back that I'm just going to grab the super chats and move down to the bottom because I'm taking too much time. There's another one first one, Crown Jewel Music Gear Review. What's happening? I got a matchless 30/15 on its way in the mail. I have a 212 cab, but you had to pick what speakers would you use in a 210 with this amp. I'm a big fan of both the Celestion Gold 210 or like 10-inch speaker, a great sounding 10-inch speaker, or the Greenback. So take your pick if you want a more Alnico vibe, or if you want a more Greenbacky vibe. I think they also make a sort of V30, if not the V type. I think you can get in a 10, I think, right? But the ones I have the most experience with are the Gold and which is great sounding, Alnico variant, and the Greenback. So either of those, I think, take your pick, are terrific. There's a Sasha Boo Boo. What's up, man? $10. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Thank you. And moving through to hit all these super chats. You guys are too kind. Thank you. Appreciate this. Enjoying the discourse. Not on Facebook. I'm a relic, says Sam. It's younger. Kids don't really use Facebook either, right? They're not into that. They're on TikTok and I guess Instagram, but which is still using Facebook. But I don't know. Just haven't been a fan, out of all the different social medias. People just seem to lash out at each other. Yeah, all that stuff is kind of, it's a bit of a, they've all got their thing, like that's like a, shitty thing about them all. There's great things and then there's shitty things about them all. Great things. I mean, Facebook, I wouldn't, some of the things I see on there, people's wedding photos or things that I would never see, if it didn't exist. That's great, and staying in touch with your family, that you get to see things they're doing. It's great. There's great things about it. Great things about Twitter too. I laugh, man, and like pet accounts I follow on Twitter. Great, like so funny and cute and the whole 9 yards. And then I realize also that when I look at it, it's an outrage machine. It's designed to get you mad and designed to get you just look at this. How do you feel about this? Those are my favorite kinds of, I say that, just my favorite kinds of Twitter posts. How does this make you feel? And it's like some shitty thing that somebody did, or it's somebody getting in trouble, and you're like, they got theirs, and it's like, and then I think, oh, this is so toxic. Like, it's also toxic. Oh God. Sorry. Mark says, super chat, I have a Friedman twin sister and I got a Scumbag M75 65 watt to use with it in the 212. Do you think a UK made vintage 30 would pair well with it? Yeah. Twin sister is, it's a Dirty Shirley kind of lineage. Oh, to pair with the Scumbag. It's a classic thing to do, to pair a greenback with a V30. Just consider it's probably going to be a little louder. I don't know the exact efficiency rating on the Scumbag, but if it's greenbacky, it'll be a little, like, I'm not 100% sure, but you'll probably find that the V30 is a little more the featured speaker in that 212. There's nothing wrong with that. It's cool, and a lot of people do it. So I think it'd probably be really good. It just depends on the tone you're going for, Another way you could go would be like a Scumbag H75 or a Celestion Creamback H75. Then you'll have that kind of, G12H30 and greenback flavor, which is another kind of classic, so that would be another way to go. You could also just do two matching speakers. I never, think that that's a bad thing. The blend is cool sometimes, but, just depends kind of on the sound you want. Do you want a little more modern edge? If you record, do you want to have the option of doing the V30 or the greenback so you can get some different sounds? There's advantages to that, that you can get a little variety, when you're, or live, if you're like, I want a little more cut in my sound tonight, I'm going to mic the V30 instead of the greenback, or want a little more woody, that greenback woody warmth thing, This is good advice from Steven for sure. And this goes for, it's about taking responsibility, I guess, for what you see, but Facebook is what you make it. 95% of my feed is guitar related. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. I would have replied, says Ben, do I know you? I did say that to one guy on the thread on Facebook where he was asking me, he's like, well, you are kind of a dick. He says in the thing. And I said, excuse me, do I know you? Like, what have I ever done to you? Why would you say that? Like, because it's just weird. It's just, am I really? Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I was a jerk to him in some capacity at some point. I'm not perfect. I might have been. It's possible. Vincent says, yeah, I met Vincent, who's been a long time watcher of the show here. And he says, came back out to hang with me and my wife after a 5 show, told me he would before the gig even started. And he did. He's not a dick. Thanks, brother. Appreciate that. I do the best I can, but only so many hours in the day to eat and sleep and hang out. Jeffrey says, just a super chat there. Thank you guys for all these super chats. We're going to get out of I'm going to buy more coffee because I need more caffeine. Obviously, that's something that I really need right now. Okay. There's a super chat from James Bell. Thanks, man. You're watching a classic rock band at your local. It's a scenario here. A hypothetical. The guitarist falls ill and you sub in for him. Ooh, I don't know how good of a job I would do. I can't remember songs. People think I know more songs than I do, right? You must know that song. It's like, I knew it 3 years ago, but it's completely dumped out of the memory bank now. Anyway, you can have his Tele or his Strat, his AC30 or a Princeton. His only pedal is an EQ and boost. What are you going to do? I'm probably going to just opt out and go get a drink at the bar, to be honest, because I'm not on the clock. I don't want to go to work. I came to just have a beverage. I don't know. I guess you can have his Tele or his Strat, his AC30 or his Princeton. The AC30 is going to be considerably louder, so we'll take into account how loud the gig is. And if I think I can get away, his only pedal is an EQ boost. I mean, if it's a low volume kind of gig or whatever, the safe option is the Princeton. You hit it with the EQ you'll be able to get more overdrive at a reasonable level. I don't know. The AC30 or the Princeton. I love both. I'm a little more inclined to to use an AC30 but it's going to be pickier with boosts. So that's a non-answer. Oh, brother. Any tips on how to get that classic Strat sound, clean sounding, but gritty when I play harder? I'm playing with a Tumnus. I would probably suggest keeping the tone control lowish on the Tumnus, so that you know that you're saying gritty when you play harder. That if you turn up the tone, it can tend to be, especially on our Strat bridge pickup, and be a little edgy, on the and the distortion quality could be not so great. But if you roll the tone back, then you can get kind of a more pleasant sounding overdrive when you lay into it without it hurting, So to me, get a little boost with the volume. Those things have a lot of output too, right? Like any Klon, they kind of, they tend to, they seem to be boosting when the level's on no more than 4. Generally, I find. So get it so that when you turn it on, there's a level boost a little bit, and then roll the tone control down below half to maybe like 10, 10:30, 11 o'clock, something like that. And then just bring the drive up to taste, where you want it. And that's how I kind of use them. Yeah. So, this is yeah. Exactly. That's where you want to be. You're on Facebook. I'm on a boat. Yeah. That's hopefully in the Mediterranean or something, or a catamaran in Hawaii or something. While everybody else is arguing online. Is the Duke of Tone giving mid boost? I would say it's kind of like got a even. The thing about the King of Tone, the Prince of Tone, the Duke of Tone, the beauty is that it's not altering the core guitar tone that much. So it's going to give a layer of more on top of what your amp already sounds like without boosting any one thing where it could sound, oh, when I turn that pedal, it doesn't sound good. It's like a very friendly sounding pedal, and it's kind of got an even thing. So I would say it's nice full mids, but I would say it's rather flat mids. Wouldn't say it's boosting mids like a Tube Screamer or like a Klon, really. You can hear it in the video that I did with the Telly when I turn it on and off, and you can hear it just kind of adds a layer of dirt a little bit, but it's very transparent. So it's like once the drums and the bass kick in, it's almost like not dirty. It's like just fatter, which is the thing about overdrive. It's like, it's like Tim Pierce says, I've always got a little bit of dirt in my clean sound. It's when the band's playing, you don't really perceive it. A guitar speaker cuts off the top end so severely after 5K that, if you were to play a pedal into an amp and then run it into a full range sound, you would hear that there's a bunch of foots on the top end, like distortion. But the guitar speaker will roll it all off. Now, if you don't do much boosting of the top end with a pedal, and there's that steep roll off, if it's got kind of a warm top end, you don't really perceive that the distortion's in there, but it's getting rolled off by the speaker. And that's the magic thing. You're getting this little bit of soft clipping and compression and stuff, and it's pushing the guitar sound forward. And that's that magic balance that you try to strike. So the Duke of Tone for me is more of a rhythm pedal. That's the kind of, in the same way like a Noble's a bit more of a rhythmy pedal that, you could use it to boost and play lead, but I never did with my King of Tone. I used it as a way to get a great core guitar sound, the main part you play in the song or whatever. And then I hit it with something like an Archer or a Screamer to, then get more sustain and more like a lead thing. So, yeah. That said, it's versatile. You heard me use the soft clipping and turn it way up, and then it's got this warm amp-like distortion that sounds really good. You can hear it in the video I did, I think. So there's a versatility to it, Oh, if you ever figure out why humans enjoy seeing other humans suffer, please let me know, because it always weirds me out, says Ben Tom. Yeah, I do. We're weird, man. People are weird. We're such weird creatures. We hope we can evolve to be like Star Trek. Get past the stuff. Yeah. What a crazy time we live in right now too. It's a scary, crazy time, but we won't talk about that. We'll talk about guitar. It's a scary, 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 scary world we live in right now. But there's also almost nothing that any of us can do about it, right? Other than just be nice and you know, try and have a good time. You know, what's it say at the end of the meaning of life? Oh, be nice to your neighbors, like whatever. Da, 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 da. It's like all that standard stuff. So, what else we got here? Ben Tom says he saw a creepiest video from Thailand of a crocodile swimming off with a woman in its mouth. That's just the crocodile going crocodile, though, right? I guess, I always see it that way, kind of like when I hear these stories, right? I don't know what made me think of this, but professional surfing. I heard a description of professional surfing once described as like, there's no other sport like this because of the chaos of like, kind of infused that, somebody could always get attacked by a shark out there. It was like, it's kind of the equivalent of like in pro football, if you just occasionally just let a gorilla loose on the field. I love the image of that. Oh, they've let the gorilla loose. And it was lumbering across the field and attacks somebody and takes them out. I would actually, the dark human side of me, would pay to go to that. Sure. I mean, and that's, I guess that's gladiator stuff. I don't know. We're human beings. We're crazy. We're crazy. No, I don't want to see any football players attacked by, any kind of big animals, bears, gorillas, nothing. I don't. Okay. Let's see. Cheers from England, says Daza. I'm hope to get over there again very soon, probably the new year. Let's see. What else we got here? Robert. Unit 67, just the compressor, or PRS. Mary cries optical compressor. I don't know. Honestly, because any of those PRS pedals I haven't tried yet. I haven't even really had time to look because I was driving all day yesterday. I know they came out and I was busy, but there's some hubbub on the gear page about them and stuff, about the PRS pedals. Maybe I'll review them. I don't know. We'll see. But I haven't had a chance. The Unit 67 is great in a very 1176 kind of way, but it's just a great sounding pedal with the range master and the compressor. I'm a big fan of Drybill, so they do great stuff. The other one can't comment on yet. Do you think the Marshall Origin 20 and 212 cab could double as a practice and gig amp? Probably, realistically. An Origin, you can get mods done to those too, and they can sound pretty damn good. I know Friedman did a BE style mod to one, and I heard it. It sounded really good. So, yeah. So, I would say so. From UK, just watch the EVH pickup challenge. Awesome. Thank you. It was a fun video. It was a big mashup of a bunch of pickups. It was really fun. Okay. Lauren says he's seen some awful ways for people to die on Star Trek, like transporter malfunction, phaser. Yeah, the phaser is pretty tough, but the whole thing is people have evolved to be, it's not saying there's not awful things out there, and the Star Trek's all about exploring new worlds, and there's still, the Borg and, awful things out there that'll mess you up, I guess, right? But folks on Earth have at least moved beyond the petty issues. I guess that's kind of the theme, right? Isn't it? Which is a nice place to start from. Okay. Let's see. The old gorilla on the field trick. Exactly. Exactly. Tom says whitewater kayaking is chaotic and badass, but no sharks. Yeah, there's no sharks, right? What if there were sharks? That at a whole nother layer, right? When you do one of those rolls and you come around and you're under there, and all of a sudden, right in your face, there's a, that would be not good. Didn't see that coming. Okay. There's a super chat I got to get to here. people in Florida escaping cops happens all the time, getting eaten by crocs. Is it escaping cops and getting eaten by crocs, or is it escaping crocs and then getting eaten by crocs? Or what about if they were escaping crocs but then got eaten by a cop? Florida man, eaten by cop. It's possible. Nothing would surprise me anymore. Shout out, by the way, to the good people of Florida and the awful situation they're in. I've got a friend that's down there too, and he's been putting updates on. It's what a terrible, jeez, man. I mean, to think about those poor people, it's just, man, I don't know. Like living in the path of those things, it's just like. But I know I live here too, and we have fires and we have earthquakes, and you just never know, do you? Like, I guess there's always the chance, but it's a terrible thing. I mean, what those people are dealing with right now, how you come back from something like that, I don't know. I mean, they're dealing with it in Puerto Rico too. Puerto Rico, there's no power in, like, it's how long ago was that? Doesn't that feel like a month ago? It wasn't, but it feels like a long time ago. I think it's 20 days now or something that there's been areas of the island that still don't have power. So I can relate a little bit. I was on Puerto Rico, Hurricane Jean in 2004 or 5. It was 2004, and there was no power for like a week while I was there. And, it was one of the most surreal experiences I've had. We were there to film a DVD, and the show ended up going off. The power came on the morning of the show. Otherwise, it was not going to happen. And it came on the morning of the show, and we did an arena show that night. It was crazy. But for the whole week, we were rehearsing with like a generator outside to power the rehearsal studio and stuff. It was nuts. Whack job with the super chat. Thank you, man. Finally installed my new raw nickel Thornbucker into my Particicaster. Amazing. Might try your new A2 in another guitar. Please do. I'd love to know what you think of the differences. For sure. And thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Do you think full tone pedals will go up in value? Probably, just supply and demand, if that's it, I only own a couple full tone pedals. I've got that rack chorus here too, in the tri-chorus, which sounds brilliant in my rack right over here. It's one of the only rack outboard pieces I have. And actually I did a song for the full tone video, and I was thinking that might be one of the songs I do for this next EP or album that I make. Because I heard the full tone video that I made the other day. I'm like, that's a good little piece of music. So I'll go back and mine some of those ideas for, and that was one of them, the full tone, that rack chorus video. Let me go back and listen. I liked it. Kind of into chorus right now, kind of into 80s guitar sounds and chorus and the whole, there's a lot of that on the Blink of the Star album I recommended earlier, the Juvenile Universe album. A lot of great chorus sounds. So, yeah. Anthony says he installed a Thornbucker in his gold top in the neck position. Loves the clarity. That's great. That's awesome. Yeah, it's just down to the kind of the low wind and the little mismatch we do and stuff. It's got a great, clear sound, I think. Yeah. It's 1:34. I'm going to keep going till 2 or a little bit after because I was late today. Quite late. So let's keep this going. Still 400 people here. Nathan says, who was your wireless friend that had the problem at Rock and Rio? I'd rather not say because I just don't want to color the story at all with anybody going to look for their performance, they were still the consummate professional and got through it, but just had some issues. Let's see. Is there a guitar you once had and sold only to realize later you should have kept it? My 54 Les Paul. Sucks that I sold it. I mean, I hate that I sold it. Think about it almost daily. Excuse me. Okay. Hey, from France, Cedric. What's up, man? Had a great time over there recently. Wow, it was great to get back and hang out, and I love it there, man. Love it as a country. Wonderful place. Good times. Great food. I could live there. Like Robin Ford. Yeah. I live in Hawaii. No sharks here. Ooh, that's not true. I know that's not true, Burke. because I know surfers, and I know surfers that have had close calls and run-ins with tigers out there. Tiger sharks, that is. It happens. And you've got all kinds of, what's that one shark, the Galapagos or something? There's plenty of those there where you can go out and just dive and you're in the middle of a bunch of them, or, there's all kinds of sharks in Hawaii. Come on now. It's Hawaii. Tigers are scary. I was always told that the great whites will bite you, and then I don't want that. It's an accident when they bite you, but the tiger will come and bite you and then come back for, your bones. They'll mess you up. They want you. The tiger is scary, right? Or bulls. I don't know if there's a lot of bull sharks in Hawaii or not. The tiger sharks are the scary one, though. And yeah, I've particular couple stories I remember about, like, yeah, won't get into it, but scary stories about tiger sharks kind of tracking people, like trying to, and how the hell do you get out and get back to shore when the shark's in the wave and you can see it, like, coming at you and stuff like that. So anyways, we're not talking about sharks, though. We're talking about guitars. There is a Gretsch on Reverb touted to have been owned and toured by Chris Cornell for $395K. Did you get to spend time with any of his guitars? This is a great time to bring up the auction, isn't it? Because I've got a Chris Cornell played guitar that is being auctioned right now on Rally Up for Save Our Allies, which is a humanitarian aid organization that is doing on-the-ground humanitarian relief. In other words, food, medicine, shelter, clothing, getting people out of harm's way. Has nothing to do with war. It has to do with helping people that actually need things like food, shelter, and clothing. And this is a group, Save Our Allies, is an amazing group of folks that I've personally met the founder, and it's military veterans, special forces, badass folks that when they see people in need somewhere and they know they're going to need help, they go there and they spend their own savings and stuff. It's an amazing organization. So it's not political. No matter what side of the spectrum that you're on, these folks go and they go into troubled areas and help people out. So that's Save Our Allies. I became so impressed with them, meeting them, speaking with them, seeing the work they were doing. I wanted to help them out. So I have this guitar. Would you like to see the guitar? I'll go get the guitar because I haven't shown it on the show. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to tell the story of the guitar. Hold on. Just a moment. Here is the guitar in question. So this is the Washburn guitar case that the guitar was sent to me in. And I got it around 2007 or 8. It's got a hole in the bottom of the case right there. So it's beat because it's been on the road. And this guitar I took on tour with Chris Cornell in 2009. And so it's a Washburn guitar that was custom made in the Washburn USA Custom Shop. It's actually really beautiful. It's so mahogany back and sides, made in the Washburn USA Custom Shop. You can see it's got flame maple binding, so that's really beautiful. Mahogany neck, flame maple binding all the way down the neck. Can you see the maple? That's flames, beautiful. And you can see there's a sticker up there with the settings for the EQ and all that. And then there's a sticker on the headstock that has a very unique tuning, FFCCCF. And those that are Chris Cornell fans will know that that is the tuning for Seasons. So I used to use this guitar for a while with him, and I would play Seasons on it. But Chris on tour in 2009 was having problems getting an acoustic sound that he liked. So he played a lot of Martins, later on Taylors, a lot of Gibsons. The Gibsons that he had, I remember on that tour, were just kind of run-of-the-mill Fishman pickups and preamps. Like he had a Hummingbird, and it could sound a little, that piezo, however you say it. I'm not going to remember. that sound of those particular pickups, you know how it is. It's just not quite there. It's not, and you know, he's using in-ears, and he just wasn't happy with the sound on tour. This guitar has a mic in it and a pickup that you can blend, and it sounds really great and natural. The pickup system that's in it is just really nice. And I remember in particular when this guitar was made for me, that the guy that got left on. So it's the only thing about this. It's an original Baggs preamp, and the only thing about this particular preamp is it's got an on-off switch, and you have to remember to turn it off or it drains the battery. But it's old school. It's called the Duet 2, I believe. Duet 2. And the guy at Washburn firmly believed that this, like the luthier that made this guitar, he said, this is the best sounding preamp pickup system for any acoustic that's been made, you know? So he's like, I'm gonna put it in your guitar. I was like, okay. And that's the only thing. You got to remember to turn that thing off. So, yeah. So, but it does sound great. So I said to Chris, I go, you want to try my guitar on this tour? Like, because he was having problems, and he tried it. He's like, this guitar is beautiful. I love the way it sounds. I go, why don't you just use it? So then he ended up playing it for his. He used to do about 5 songs in the middle of the set, acoustically by himself. Sometimes he would do like a Stone like that. I Am the Highway, play different songs, you know. So this was the guitar that he used on that tour for at least I don't remember if it was like, you know, we did a European leg, we did an American leg that was 2.5 months long and stuff, you know. And for, I can't remember like which leg or when that happened or exactly, but he ended up using it a lot on the tour anyway. So a number of different gigs that this was the guitar that he used. So it's not $395K. I think it's bid up to about $4,700 right now on Rally Up, and I'm auctioning this guitar for Ukraine aid relief. So anybody that's interested, there's just a couple days left on the auction, and you can go check it out. And it's a terrific guitar. Now, I just took it out on tour. My plan was to kind of do promo with the guitar, like on tour when I was out with Five for Fighting, and, you know, show the guitar and talk about it a lot. That didn't really end up happening, although we filmed a video playing John's song, Can One Man Save the World, with the guitar. And that's the video that you'll see sort of attached to the auction and stuff, and it's on YouTube. So you can see me using the guitar and telling the story of the guitar in there. But what did happen is I was having a couple problems with another guitar I had. Just the pickup system wasn't quite right. So I ended up having to actually use this guitar as my main acoustic on the tour, and I would play it on a couple songs every night, or, you know, depending. There was some nights I didn't play acoustic at all, so then I didn't use it. But anyway, it ended up being great. I mean, I used it on tour. I hadn't played it on tour in like you know, since maybe, I think I used it on that Don Henley tour last, this particular guitar. But anyway, I've played it on tour. Chris Cornell played it on tour extensively, really liked it, loved the way it sounded, and we're auctioning it for humanitarian, key word, humanitarian aid relief. The money goes directly to Save Our Allies. So it doesn't go to anybody in Ukraine or anything like that. It goes to Save Our Allies, which is based, you know, here in the U.S. And those folks go to, this is the organization that helped get people out of Afghanistan when the pullout there was kind of chaotic and stuff. And they ended up getting 12,000 people, you know, on planes and out of Afghanistan to safety, vulnerable people that needed to get the heck out quick. And, you know, these are, like I say, it's special forces guys, it's veterans, people with skills that just want to use their skills to help people and escort them to safety and get them the things that they need. And so that's where you know, to directly, if you want to check out Save Our Allies, a really cool organization. So guitars, you know, auction is, Ben Coombs, can you help me out? Can you find the auction, if you don't mind, and just post it? It's rallyup.com with a, you know, then the info. And if you guys Google search, you know, Pete Thorn Cornell guitar auction, Save Our Allies, it'll pop up. But, you know, maybe you can just find the link for me really quick, and we can post it in the thread, and I'll highlight it on the screen and stuff. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's the story of the guitar. It's a special guitar. You can get a Chris Cornell guitar that's not $395K. It ain't gonna get bid up that much. My Knees Hurt says, what chord shapes do you play with that tuning? Well, it's a lot of roots and fifths, right? So you can do a lot of you know, blocky chords, actually. So if you watch me play Seasons on it, you'll see it's a lot of you know, I don't remember. I'm not going to remember exactly how to play it right now. But if I were to put I can't actually even put the guitar in the tuning because I need the specific string gauges. But I can't do it right now because of I can't play seasons on it because I replace this string with another sixth, and then this one needs to go to B, the G string, to play seasons on it, and I can't tune it all the way up. It's a a 24 wound or whatever the heck it is, so it's not going to get up there without breaking. So, but if you watch there's a video of me playing seasons on it in Chile and it's in the video we made about the guitar auction as well, and you can see me playing that on it. You can see how it's kind of it's Atomic Punk says, "Can you play it now?" I can't really because with that I'd have to replace the string on it. It's not. I do have a guitar here. You know what? If I can find it really quick, I have a guitar here that is in that tuning that has the string gauge. So just let me see if I can find it. I think it's right here. Just one sec. Oh, that's not it. 1 second. Where the heck is it? I can't. I think it's in the other room. The other room's locked, and I need to get it out with a key and stuff. So sorry about that lull. I can't do it right now. But anyways, I have my Acoustasonic in a gig bag. By the way, we're doing a gig. It's coming up in a few days at the Whiskey. I can't remember the exact date, 7th, 8th, 9th, something like that at the Whiskey. And it's a Chris Cornell tribute set that I'm doing with Pauly Z and my friend Toshi that plays on the Kimmel show. He's also playing guitar. And so anyways, that's coming up, and I'll have it there. I think we're doing seasons. So anyways, okay. Sorry for the lull there. I honestly couldn't find it. And there's more people online with me with a lull than the whole rest of the show. 4:35. Great to see you guys. Thanks for everybody being here. Why does the Jekyll and Hyde pedal get no love? I don't know. I remember that pedal. It's just really old. I mean, the Jekyll and Hyde pedal, the one I'm thinking of, is that who made that? I'm trying to remember, man. I can't recall. What kind of pedal was it? The Ryra clone I have, the Ryra pedal I have is a muff clone. It's more like a green style, like the Russian big muff. And that's the fuzz that I use on my pedal board that I really like. Have you ever played Bartell amps? The guy that started Tone King? No, but if he makes, Tone Kings are cool. There's some neat things. They're a neat boutique brand, Tone King. Sorry, I'm not familiar with that, but he's, legit came up with some good ideas for Tone King for sure. What kind of outboard studio gear do you use? 773s, 1176s. I could show you a photo here really quick of just my rack here. So this is it. At least the one side. So you can see there's a patch bay at the top there, and then moving down, you've got a Universal Audio 6176, which is an 1176 and tube pre combo. Then there's an API A2D. That's two API 312 style mic pre's. And below that is a BAE, what's that called? 1073 MP. That's a dual 1073. So I've got two Neve style pre's. I've got two APIs, and I've got one tube pre there. And then also I've got a 500 series rack that looks like this. That does see some use. There's a Maris mic pre there, the white module. That's like an API, but it's got an effects loop in it so that I can do pedal level effect loop stuff. So say I want to put like an electric mistress flanger on an acoustic guitar, I can do that with that. There's a DBX mic pre there. That's pretty cool. And then there's a 160 style or 166. What's it called? They call it the 560A. It's a 166 style, I think, or 160 style DBX compressor. It's classic kind of DBX over easy compression, that whole thing. There's a Maris, that amazing sounding Mercury reverb. And then the warm audio pre in there. That's also like their version of a API. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What else? The question is, Vincent says about that guitar that I'm auctioning, does the buyer display it as history or does he or she keep playing it? I mean, maybe both would be nice, I do feel it's like a pretty cool guitar. It's a Chris Cornell tour played guitar. I would hope that somebody, that digs the cause and also would like something like that would, gets it. And the bids are about at, if I look at the auction right now, I think it's about $4,700, which to me, it ain't $395, it's $4,700, so it's like somebody's going to get a pretty cool guitar, I would think, for at this point, still a really reasonable price. I mean, somebody could come in there and bid it up, but that's the magic of an auction. You just never know, right? What's going to happen. Yeah, it's at $4,700 right now. There's been about 18, 19, 20 bids on it, something like that. So whatever it sells for that's what it's going to sell for, and somebody's going to get it, and all that money, 100% of that's going to save our allies. So have you ever tried Landry amps? No, but I've been curious. I would like to. He was on Tone Talk a couple weeks ago, and it was kind of cool interview, so would like to do that. There it is. Thanks, Ben, for posting that. So soa.rallyup.com/UKR/campaign/details. There it is. Thanks, Ben, for posting. That's the link to the auction for the guitar. Please go check it out, and if it's something that you're into, please bid on it, and let's get a guitar to somebody for a good cause, right? Yeah, I think the current bid, I think that's right. Stealth Parrot says the current bid is $4,550, and then a couple of people have just donated, so a few people have just donated without bidding on the guitar, so hence the $4,700 amount. But yeah, Ben Coombs says he's got a reminder. He's got RJ Ronquillo on his channel tonight at 8 p.m. interview, so that's cool. Check that out. Let's see what else we got here. Maybe a Seasons lesson in the future. Yeah, I could teach you how to play Seasons. That's Atomic Punk. It's not hard to play, really. It's just that there's an arpeggiation to it that you got to get with your left hand. With your right hand, with the picking through the strings. But it's not that it's not really that tough. So. Okay. Alex says, love your channel. Always learn a lot from you. Do you have a favorite in the box amp sim? I think the PT100, I have my own plugin with UA and Universal Audio and Brainworks. They developed it with Nembrini, and it's the PT100. So yeah, it's a killer in the box plugin. If you haven't tried it, give it a try. Nembrini or is it Brainworks, or they make an off UA version now. You can use it. You can use it with any platform. It doesn't have to be UA. So you can get a native version of it now for anything. They had an exclusive on it for a few years, but now it's available from anyone. Okay. Let's see. Thanks to those who subbed during this show. Yeah, thanks guys for clicking. If I'd love it if you would hit the subscribe if you haven't, and also hit the thumbs up on the video if you're having fun here. I'm having fun here. I can't subscribe to my own channel, but I would if I could. That's so narcissistic. Oh, brother. Okay, what else? Let's see. Jeff says the Jekyll and Hyde is old technology. or yeah, does not sound as good as newer pedals. I don't know. I haven't tried it, but Sir Riot or Wampler Gearbox are great. I love the Riot, man. I mean, that's the Riot is a monster. Gearbox, I haven't done a video for yet, but I think I'm supposed to. So I think that's happening pretty soon. Yeah. Vincent says, I almost feel like Chris would say, play it, that guitar that we're auctioning. Don't just let it hang on a wall. I mean, yeah, always play it, even if you're not a guitar player, like get it and then like take lessons, learn on it. It's cool. It's not in perfect condition, it's like, then it's in good condition, but it's like, it's a guitar that, it's been played on tour, it's cool. It's got some mojo in it. Yeah. Let's see. What else we got here? Ever played Michael Kelly guitars? I haven't. That's another one I haven't. Unfortunately. Boogeyman says, smoke me on mouth harp. I can't play harmonica. Tom says, skin flute. That's quite an admission there. Good on you. Do your thing. Okay. PT100 plugins amazing, says Stealth Parrot. Thanks, man. Yeah, I think they did an amazing job. I only had to, there was one revision. They sent me a version of it, and I was like, it sounds really good. It's a little bassy. It seemed to be a little woofy stuff. Yeah, we're still working on that. We're getting the low end. Okay, and then they sent me another version. It was like, this is killer, So, Stealth Parrot says almost 250,000 subscribers. Yeah, we're getting close. I mean, what am I at? 245 now. It's that final 5,000. It's been a long road to 250,000. I need to make more. I don't know. What do I need to do to boost my subscriber count? Song reaction videos, unboxing, more of those. No, I need to do. Yeah, we're gonna try and like I say, just making amp videos. That should hopefully expand the channel a little bit. For those that are just joining now, one of the things I announced today is I'm going to start making amp demo videos for more new amplifiers. So something I've avoided traditionally in the past, but I can't do it anymore. I have to do it, I feel like. So after doing the little baby Plexi in a box, the Kowalski Dark Gene amp, it's just like I have to do more of this. I enjoy it. I enjoy amps. It's a big part of I like amps as much as I do guitars almost, and I like amps more than pedals. So it's like, why don't I make more videos about them? I kind of have to. It's just something I have to open the channel up to. So you'll see more videos about amplifiers coming from me with a few starting this month, I think. So yeah, it's going to happen. How do you decide between a multi-voice boost like a Zio versus a straight up EQ pedal to boost an amp or stack with other pedals? Straight up EQ, although I really like them when I try them, it's not something I've ever actually personally had on my board, although they're brilliant. Like the EQ 200 from Boss, for example. That's a great pedal. But even Source Audio makes a programmable EQ, and then they also make the Zio boost. So it's almost like different strokes, I really love the Sir Coco boost, and that's like a mid boost that has 3 different frequency settings. You can pick what frequency you want to boost the mids at, but that's one that it's got some options there, for clean boost and then mid boost, but there's not like a ton of different, it's not like it's an Echoplex boost and a range master and all that. That is the Source Audio one that I did recently. There was a Source Audio pedal that's a few different boosts. Boy, what a terrific sounding pedal that is. Really, really good sounding pedal. Sorry, not Source Audio. Theirs is great too, the Zio. That's a bunch of different boosts, but I was Crazy Tube Circuits. That's what I was trying to say. Crazy Tube Circuits made a range master, EP booster, ZVAC super hard on, and micro amp boosts. That's another one that's really cool. I don't know how you decide. I don't know. I don't have any idea, to be honest. It's just like there's probably one sound in there that you love and can't live without, and then hey, it's nice to have some of the other sounds too. I guess that's how. OG Sir Riot or one of the newer ones. You know what my favorite Sir Riot is? The little one. So I would say the newer. The Kevin took the original Riot, Kevin Sir, and then he copied it and got it like perfect in a small pedal format version. But it for some reason even sounds better to me, I think, maybe than the it might sound exactly the same, or it's probably very, very, very close, but just when I did the video for the little one, I was like, this thing sounds amazing. Like, and it's a small format version, so you can fit it on any pedal board. It's tiny, really, really good. Chris says the Riot is a Riot. I think that's probably true. I mean, I don't think there's a hell of a lot of difference, but the Sir Riot Mini, Lauren says he loves it too. They're so good, man. They're really, really so good. Yeah. What's the tuner on my board? That's a great question. It's a Polytune with the mini Polytune that's black, and you can switch a buffer on or off on it. So that's the one I use. So used to the Polytune after all these years that I'm very comfortable with it, and I don't really mess with other tuners because I've gotten so used to the how a tuner is very like kind of personal, like, oh, I like the way the needle looks on this one. And then you get used to looking at it and very, and then when you switch like a strobe or something, you're like, oh man, I feel like a fish out of water a little bit tuning on something else. So even if other tuners are great, the Polytune's really good to me. Also, I think the best tuner app is the Polytune, the like app on your phone. I'm so sold on it that I've used it at plenty of sessions and to tune acoustic guitars and stuff. Just the one that you can get on your phone for like, I guess it's probably cost $5 or $10 or something to download it, but it's great. Have you played a Shure Red Beach Signature yet? No, I haven't. I'd love to make a video of that guitar for them though. That'd be cool. Maybe I could play the solo too. Headed for a Heartbreak. Beautiful solo. Beautiful. Good stuff. Let's see. It's a long road to the top when you want to rock and roll. Bagpipes. I think you guys are talking about harmonicas, and then that comment came up, but it's not harmonica on there. It's actually bagpipes, isn't it? Are you a fan of Victory? Don't know them well enough. I mean, I've only used kind of the pedal amps. They sound pretty darn good. I'd love to try Richie Kotzen's Victory Signature. That would be cool. How about demos of the Sir line? Well, I've done all that, though. I've done multiple demos of PT15, one really thorough one of the 67, one really thorough one of the 68, and the PT100. I've made multiple videos of different versions. So, yeah, they're all there on YouTube for every single one of those amps. I mean, I could make more, I guess, but I don't know how beneficial it would be over the ones I've already done, where I try to get the best tones that I possibly could. Any plans to record amps in the zone in the near future? Yeah, I was mentioning, I got to do the AC31, so that's going to come now. I'm going to get that done. I know I said that 2 weeks ago, but it's going to happen. AC30 amps in the zone, but also I kind of want to do a solid state amps in the zone because I got this 250 ml GK that I impulse bought a couple weeks ago on the show coming. And then I've also got a lab series here, which was made famous by Ty Tabor. BB King used them too. And I've also got I don't have yet, but I want to ask Orange if they'll send me a solid state, the new 200 watt one that Ty uses live now. And I thought it'd be fun to make a, solid state amps in the zone, three epic solid state amps, and come up with a track that showcases them all. Yeah, so that's all going to happen for sure. It's 2:04. I'll hang another till like 2:10, and I'm going to split. What's my favorite fuzz? The two I always say, the one that's on my board right now, it's been on there for a few years, is the Ryra Big Muff clone. It's great. Love it. Use it all the time for things, and does a great Gilmore thing. But I also really like the Crazy Tube Circuit Starlight. Fantastic fuzz for people that don't like fuzz. That's a great pedal. Can be almost like an overdrive or distortion at lower levels. And then as you turn up the drive, it definitely turns, fuzzy, but in a great way. It's a really, really good sounding pedal. Riot Mini is incredible, says Jeff. I was so blown away with it a couple weeks ago. If you watched my, the sound was sort of poor, but the video from Guitar Summit, I was using it on the board there. It just was like, man, that pedal sounds good. And I could almost, get the exact sound of the channel 2 of my PT15 amp with it, the drive channel, using the Riot through channel 1. McLean channel, right? I was A-Bing them on the show, and I was like, this sounds so close. Really, really good. Are you going to do more shows with Mitch? It's possible. It's possible. Let's see. What do you use in your hair for such lift and bounce? Matt Beckley. Oh, buddy. Let's meet and have a cider later, shall we? How'd you do with your Ableton nudging yesterday? Everything going good there? What do you think of the Positive Grid Spark and Spark Mini? I haven't played them. Only Positive Grid stuff I've used is the plugins, which are pretty damn cool. I mean, they are pretty neat, but I haven't done. I'll tell you a story. This is just one little thing. There's a friend of mine who will go unnamed, but a well-known guitar player, who was approached by them to make videos for demo videos. And this person isn't there anymore, I don't think, but whoever was artist relations at the company at the time, it was not a good exchange. And that always kind of colored my, nothing to, one person, they don't represent the company, but they do represent the company when the ones there. So anyways, I just heard about that, and it left a bad taste in my mouth about the Positive Grid thing. Now, that's got not bad mouthing them. That was just one person that was so I don't think about them a lot because of that, but maybe that's not fair, because that person doesn't even work there anymore, I don't think. And it's just the exchange I didn't feel like it was respectful from, at least from the artist's end of it, that, I mean, it seemed a little weird. So, haven't seen your Sur EMG guitar lately. Actually, I used it in recent video. Second to last one I did. I think I'm playing that guitar. So yeah, it's here. What was that video for? I think for the Halcyon, this pedal. Halcyon. I said it wrong again. Halcyon. I was thinking about this morning because Matt Beckley and I were talking about this, actually. The fellow that just made the hair comment. I can't pronounce all these pedal names. Like I know that there's so many pedals now that they've run out of names. So everybody's coming up with esoteric, strange names, but I don't know if I'm dyslexic or what, but I see things and I want to say them wrong. I want to pronounce it wrong. And I find that a lot. And I just, all these new pedals, it's like, I can't, they've got these names that for some, maybe I'm an idiot. That's probably what it is. I'm an idiot. And I just, does anybody else feel like that out there though? Matt was asking me about the new Strymon pedal, the Zelza, and it's kind of a hard thing to say. And when you see it, it's like, and it doesn't. It's an amazing pedal. So the pedal's great, but there is this kind of nebulous, like, what does the thing do, sort of thing. It's a multi-mod pedal that's awesome. It does chorus, flange, phase, auto wah, all really well. But the video that I did hopefully helped it gain a little bit of traction, because I feel like there's a lack there of people like that maybe don't, folks don't understand what it does. There's just like a gap there where there's there's a little bit like, what is this thing? And it's a terrific multi-mod pedal. So I feel like my one recommendation to companies these days would be, like, if you've got a pedal that is, the Sur Riot, that kind of tells you what it does. It's a, it's going to be loud and obnoxious and whatever, rock, I don't know. Like, don't get so crazy with your names these days. This is a good name. Carl Martin Ampster in a pedal. We know what that is then. It's an amp-like pedal. I feel like that's real solid. So if you're naming pedals, don't do something too odd to pronounce and esoteric. That would be my, that's just going to, how do I say that? If I can't figure out how to say it, consider I'm an idiot and I can't probably figure it out a lot of the time. So come up with something simple. Yeah. Maybe I'm just lazy. Need to be more. If it's Japanese, I'll spend more time like trying to phonetically, I'll get it right. Okay. Suave. Bent Tom says the Suave. That's a great name for a pedal, actually. The Suave. I like that. What would it be? Would it be like a kind of a boutique drive, probably? Okay. Peter with the super chat. Was super late to the show. Thank you for being here. Videos this week. Today I'm going to work on. I want to do an amps in the zone soon. I need a banger, so maybe AC30 amps in the zone. But I've got these. Like, there's this Dumble pre-pedal. Look at that thing. That transformer. This is a Dumble preamp, like a Dumble amp style. So I got to get to that. Ooh, there's some here I can't show you because it's like they haven't come out yet. Here's one that I think I can talk. Wait. I don't have it here. It's okay. Where is it? There it is. This one. This is my buddy at a company in China that is obsessed with Marshalls. So Sinvertech, Sinvertech, look at that. Look at all those switches and things that it does. This is like a million different Marshall sounds in one pedal, evidently. And he's very, very, very detail oriented and kind of obsessed with getting, so you're meant to plug this into like a tube power amp or an effect loop return of an EL34 amp. Or into, I guess, some sort of tube power section, or you could plug it into a solid state power amp, I guess. But it's a preamp. He's like, you have to tell people it's a preamp. It's like designed to get the front end sound of all these different amplifiers, JTM 45s, Plexis, more modern. And there's a whole bunch of switches in there to fine tune the top end, the low end, everything. It's a full tone stack that's a bass, middle, treble, presence, tone stack, gain, and level. But then all these switches fine tune the tone circuit and stuff so that, it's also designed to go into a 4-hole Marshall into like the bass channel or the normal channel top input. You set the tone controls a certain way and kind of get a very flat sound out of the amp because it is kind of flat and power ampy if you run it a certain way. And then this does the kind of JTM 45 or super lead or whatever style tone shaping on the front end. So that's coming. I've got a couple of clones here from a place in Korea that let's show those. Distinctive Pedal Works, the Centauro. Video needs to be made of these, I think. They're basically full-size clones. If I make a video of something like this, I would love to have an original around here to try them against, and I don't have one here right now. But look at it; it's a Centaur. Right? So that's interesting. So give that a go. I mean, they definitely went to the great for Mr. Oh, wow, it's got my name on the back. I haven't even noticed that yet. That's very nice of them. I've had these for a couple months, and I need to get to that and make those very nice. This is number 36. Let's go build date certificate. They're not messing around. I mean, look at that bag they made. It's like a full-on pedal board bag for one pedal. It's very nice. Very nice. There's a compressor here from a well-known boutique manufacturer I need to do. This I'm looking forward to. The KSR. This is from KSR Vesta 3-channel preamp. So this is preamp in a box that I guess you could run into, front end of an amp or into a power amp. I'll find the best ways that it's supposed to be used and stuff, and we'll see here exactly what it sounds like. But it's pretty sophisticated, full-on preamp. I bet it's going to be heavy, cool. So it's a lot to do. But amp's coming too. Okay, so you want to see an amp that I've got? Here's going to be probably the first amp demo that I do. Look at this thing. It's a Baby Laney supergroup with all kinds of direct out options on the back. So I believe this is 3 watts, I think. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that, but I think this is like meant to be a recording amp, mainly. But with, look at that thing, right? It looks really cool, like a little baby supergroup. I love the knobs and the whole, did a great job on it. So that's going to be fun. That's coming soon. Yeah. Isn't that enough? The TX Watt, I already showed this one. A video for that coming too. I got it. Every one of these requires a song and a video edit and a lot of work. So I guess I better go. I better go have some lunch and get to work. And and then I'm going to write some music and stuff and get going. So it should be fun. I'm looking forward to all this. Next week from Hawaii, Pete Thorn checks out the latest shark cage. I would love to do that. Sounds fun. What's the name of the Marshall preamp pedal again? It's from Sinvertech, and I don't remember the exact name of it, but it's Sinvertech. It's a full-on Marshall pre pedal. So Sinvertech, Sinvertek. Excuse me. It's a fellow over in China that is very, very into Marshalls, super into Marshalls, and he gets super into trying to recreate in pedal form the exact Marshall preamps and stuff, miniaturized and stuff. So yeah. I think Suave was the answer to what you use in your hair. Well, to me, it was a great name for a pedal. So somebody needs to make the Suave. It's a badass name for a pedal. Could that be my my signature pedal with somebody? Why not? Let's make it. Somebody contact me. Let's make the Suave. It's like the update of the Groom Noodler. You guys know where that came from, right? Groom Noodler, the forum. That was like back 10 years ago or something like that, or almost 8-9 years ago. Somebody was like kind of bagging on me and John Sir on the Huge Racks forum. And I said, the Groom Noodler and his gear pimp, John Sir. That was great. Gear pimp. Oh, brother. Yeah. And I was the Groom Noodler for a minute. So then I wrote a track called The Groom Noodler. All right. I should go. This is devolving, isn't it? It's not interesting anymore. We've now we're talking about Aquanet and Super Hold Spray. And, it's like, it's probably time to go. Part of it's, you got to know when to wrap it up. It's just, you got to know when to leave the party. All right. You guys are the best. Thank you for all being here every week. I really appreciate you all. And there's a few more days left on the guitar auction for the Washburn guitar, played by yours truly on multiple tours, played by Chris Cornell on the 2009 tour. SOA, Save Our Allies. All proceeds benefit Save Our Allies, a great humanitarian aid organization. So look at the Save Our Allies Rally Up auction site for more on this. Somebody's going to get a great guitar, and I won't have it anymore. I won't be able to play it on tour because it'll be gone. There's the auction link from Ben. There it is. soa.rallyup.com/UKR. I think if you put in just that, it pops up, but /campaign/details. Please spread the word about it if you wouldn't mind. Tweet, whatever. I got to get it out there. I want that guitar to generate as much, aid relief as possible for folks. So, what it sells for, it'll be what it sells for, but it'd be nice if it was a little more than where it's at right now. That's all I'm saying. If it's not, that's fine too. It's all good. So you guys are the best. I'll see you real soon. Take care. Have a great week. Over and out.